Good morning, guys. I want to show you a video of a young man who is choosing to self-deport. As he walks away, his kids are really crying. For me, it's one of the most gut-wrenching videos I've watched lately. So I'm not going to explain much. I want you to watch the video first, and then let's talk about that experience and what it means for those of us who are making it back to Africa. So come with me, watch, and then let's talk.
Daddy, I miss you so much and I want you to come back soon.
I really wanted them to make sure they understood that Daddy wasn't running away.
Get deported the hard way, and that's
what you're doing is kidnapping.
He really changed, and he was like, this is it for me.
I don't have a criminal background. I haven't done anything wrong. I was just living my life, working, supporting my family, paying taxes just like everybody else. If I get picked up and they see their dad in shackles, I believe that'd be more traumatizing than actually me telling them that I'm going safely with dignity. I love you.
Ella was very hysterical. I see a lot more like anger and anxiety. She doesn't understand, like, when I'm going to work, I'm going to come back home.
It's not forever.
It's probably one of the worst things that I've had to endure.
I got that.
We will FaceTime with Sam every day.
It's a sign of good faith. Maybe it can leave an option open for me to come back. Right now, I'm waiting, praying, hoping, wishing, and just hoping for the best.
Daddy.
Well, friends, obviously this is a very disturbing video to share, and if you don't feel anything, I don't know how much of humanity there is in you. All of us, every normal person, can to some degree empathize with this young man, with this family. Now, most people I know really get disturbed when there's something that is going to harm kids. And for me, this is one reason why I do not want to work in places where kids are suffering. Like, I would never work in a pediatric hospital. I absolutely cannot stand kids in trouble or kids suffering. So clearly, this young man is facing very difficult choices, and he has decided to pack and leave, come back to Kenya on his terms. So let's talk about that. But before we unpack all of that, I'm in Karating. Today is another chill day. I'm just getting some cleanup going on, doing laundry, and not a whole lot. I'll be going to my construction sites later on, but just a little bit of cleaning up here and there. Now, you all know that I help people with the process of returning to Africa. We help people navigate that process, the process of building. I connect people with contractors and things like that. So if you need help, reach out. And those who need to learn from our experiences, those who are returning, I'm happy to share what I've learned. But in the meantime, folks, if you love our content, please make sure you subscribe, because your subscription, your support really takes us a long way. So anyway, friends, on the one hand, I fully can relate with this young man's experience in terms of why he's choosing to come back home. I've been there. I've not been there in terms of immigration process, but I have experienced that process of deciding that human dignity is far worth a lot more than anything else. This story is really about human dignity. This is not necessarily just about immigration. It's about the capacity for us to lead a dignified life. As you've seen in those videos, what these folks are doing right now is not necessarily new, but they've taken it to a different level. The indignity people experience when they are forced to come back home unprepared is on another scale, friends. Nobody I know would like to be deported or to come back home on somebody else's terms. And so this young man is faced with a very, very difficult choice. On the one hand, he could stay because he's not been deported yet. He could stay and hope for the best, hope nothing happens. But the worst case scenario would be on a normal day, they would just come, get a knock on the door in the morning, or sometime it would be out. It could be anywhere. These people simply just go grab him. And as you can see, these guys can manhandle you in a way that is absolutely unbelievable. If your kids are going to watch all of that, I would never want my kids to see that. I would never want that. So on the one hand, I fully understand why this Kenyan young man is choosing to come back to Kenya on his own terms. But on the other hand, I don't know if I would have made his choice. There's no telling. Unless you are in somebody's shoes, it's hard to tell what you would do. Because for me, the hardest part has been the kids. For us grown-ups, people can figure out. Spouses, friends, relatives, family members, wives, parents, people can figure things out. The part that kills me the most is the kids. Because when I listen to those kids cry, and then he leaves, and when he goes home, he's just hoping that things are going to work in his favor, which again, given how aggressive Captain Orange and his friends are, it's hard to tell whether he would be able to get an opportunity, at least within the next 3 years, to come back. In the meantime, for me, I miss my kids. You guys have seen my videos. I'm always around my kids all the time. However, sometimes I'm at home alone. Like right now, the kids are not with me, but I miss my kids. I don't know how I could handle it. When I see these incredibly beautiful little ones who are crying seeing their dad walk away, I don't know. I don't know how I would handle that. But you know what? As I've shared in the past, this journey about coming back to Africa also involves taking control of your own narrative, where we are able to make certain choices for ourselves. I get to decide what my life is going to look like in the next couple of years. And so returning home on your own terms, I promise you, is 1,000 times better than returning back to Africa because you're forced by circumstances. Some people will come back because of immigration, like this young man. Many other folks come back because, for one, they cannot even afford to retire in America. I've got a lot of American friends. Many of them have already made it to Kenya that we've helped to come back. And when they look at the numbers, literally they cannot afford to live in America after retirement. So at that point, you're literally forced to move. I hope you do. I hope that is not your case. I hope you're able to control your narrative and design how your life in Africa is going to look like. Some people, unfortunately, will come back as cargo. When all else fails, some of us are coming back as cargo. And I hope that is not your experience. So again, this process of preparing to come back home is more about controlling your narrative and deciding how you're going to make this work. And so what we do with many folks is just to walk people through that journey. It may take you a couple of years. Some people decide to just sell stuff and walk away. That's fine. But most people are not prepared for that. A lot of people have to prepare over a number of years. And that's why I say that every single year, if you're thinking about ever coming to Africa, make sure every single year you're doing something that brings you closer to that goal. Whether it means even just planting a tree or opening up a bank account, doing something that moves you closer. Because all these things don't just affect you. When we move to Africa or when we don't move to Africa, it's not just us as individuals who are affected. Our families are affected, our kids are affected, our friends are affected. It impacts everybody. Like in this case, this young man is going to be away from this incredibly cute girl. I'm like, this is unbelievable. Then the second piece of it that they didn't talk about is the experience of long distance marriages and long distance dating. Now, when you're younger, I think it's probably harder. As you grow older, people get better at it, but long distance dating or marriage is not a joke. I would not do a long distance dating. I'm out of the dating pool, but if I were there, it's one thing that I would not do if I had a choice. Long distance marriage, people make it work because, sometimes life is going to put you in places where not everything you want is possible. So you got to make it work, whether it means living in different spaces and sharing time as possible. Sometimes you got to do that. Like in my case, my partner is not as flexible as I am. I can be in Africa the whole year. They can't. And so we have to find something that works, and that's okay. That's why I've always said that you don't all have to share the same passion about Africa. There are people who are married to folks who are not Africans and could not care less about Africa. And so they end up sacrificing their African dream to live with their peers. I don't think it has to be an either or. You don't have to have everything you want in life, but you can get some of the most important things you want, like just getting some time, quality time in Africa. So, friends, I'm wishing Kangede the best in his journey. I can only imagine what this is like. I wish him the best, and I hope everything works out. But yes, self-deportation is an option. There are many people who are now choosing to do that. There are people I'm talking to right now who are in very difficult spots and have to prepare to come back home. But I hope you don't find yourself in that spot. So even if you're not thinking about Africa right now, all I say, there may come a time in the future when your only option or your best option will be Africa. Don't wait till you're forced by circumstances. And I said, it doesn't have to be immigration related circumstances. It could be so many things. I have got friends who have gone to the end of their careers and now they're losing jobs later on in life. Now try living in America when you're like 55, 60 and you just lost a job. Try finding a job at that age. That's when you'll find out what age discrimination looks like. And so when you're 55, you're 60 and you've lost a job and nobody wants to hire you, at that point, what do you do? Do you just sit around, watch TV all year round, hoping that things happen? Or do you try something different? So friends, I wish you all the best. I'd like to hear from your experience with this, but thank you for listening and I will see you in the next video. Bye.